Hello friends, today I'm going to try to play Ethan Carter, which I guess the longer title is Vanishing of Ethan Carter. It's a game about finding out what happened to a person named Ethan Carter. I think he plays a detective and you don't know what's really going on. It's more of a story than a game, so it's more like a visual novel that you just roam around in, I think. If you played Dear Esther, it's a lot like that, or Gone Home. I think they're going to have a lot in common. I played about 2 or 3 minutes already, just to see how it ran. It ran pretty good. But I want to make it this like a technical let's play, or try to explain the graphic settings in this game. Because Vanishing of Ethan Carter is praised to be one of the best looking games that came out. I guess it gets that title that from that every object in this game is supposed to be unique. I don't know if that's true. That is just what I've heard. And they use a lot of the new techniques for producing high resolution textures, good view distance, and great lighting. So it shouldn't be bad looking. I don't know what engine it's on. I think it's a modified Unreal new engine, I think. It was in the splash screen, I should have known. But it's not the most important part. I'll go into options, show you what I'm playing at. That resolution 1920 by 1080. I'm playing on a 1920 by 1200 monitor, but it's planning to upload this to YouTube. Might as well play it in native resolution for the video to play at. Vertical sync is when you have vertical lines scrolling down your computer monitor. I hardly ever see those, but I have it turned on anyway. VSync's not really a good pretty maker. It's only if you have a problem with it usually. It has a little tax to your frames per second. Frames per second right now is at 52. Texture detail just shows how good things look up close. High is the maximum for this game. No ultra, super high, god mode, whatever settings. It just has the 3, low, medium, high, like it should. 8x MSAA is an anti-aliasing feature. Currently it's a pretty good setting to be at. Especially don't need higher if I plan to upload to YouTube. This game goes up to 16Q CSAA, which is kind of like 8x MSAA, except it has a few more like samples involved in it. Explaining what AA is pretty hard to do, so I'm just not doing it in this video. But it basically that makes things look less pixelated. You don't want to see little squares and jagged lines. Texture filtering affects how things look at angles. Textures are built to be looked at front on. When we start viewing them and they start twisting, and because we're living in a 3D world, we can see them from any angle, they would look kind of weird. But nowadays we have things like trilinear, bilinear, and anisotropic. Anisotropic. Run at 16x, it's the highest setting for this game. I probably don't need that high. There's a lot of things you don't need that high, but if I want to do a technical video, we'll keep it up higher. Field of view is very important and kind of discussed a bit. Console games play in lower field of views normally. This one goes down to 70, but I've seen games go down to 60 or even 50. It's just how much you can see and how much your game has to have it loaded at any time. When I'm at 120, I can see the whole tree, well, to the center of the tree almost, on the right. When I go down to what I plan to play at 100, I just see the leaves, the branches. But when I play at 70, the tree is almost non-existent. The game doesn't even load much of it. All we see is little pine needles sticking out. It's one of the big tricks in the industry nowadays to have a tighter field of view. Console games can go okay with it because you're further from the screen, it looks a little bit more natural because When you're far away from a screen, it takes up less of your view space in real life. When you're up close to it, you want it to look like you're actually there. When your monitor is right in your face, you gotta have huge fields of view. If you use something like Oculus Rift, you better be maxing this out every time, and games would have to even accommodate for that. But I play at 100. My screen is about 27 inch, and it's about 2 to 3 feet in front of me. So 100 is what I need. Advanced settings, this game has it. Alpha to coverage is more anti-aliasing for things like the grass, the trees. It does weird stuff. It's supposed to be very low demand. I don't know how it works. It's kind of new to me. I think it's only been used in games for like the past year and a half or so. First thing I know I had it was American. No, wait. What's that thing with DayZ on it? Arma 3. That was the first game I knew I had it. Motion blur makes things blurry when they move or your character moves and the screen gets blurry. Ambient occlusion and bloom are two sides of the same coin almost. Bloom came out first, was very popular in a few games. It makes objects hold light really well. It's overused a lot. This game I think will tone it down a bit, but when light hits the surface it grows brighter. Not just that it has more light to it, but angles of it grow like the rock is a good example. Like the top part will have light on it, the other parts won't. Because that's where the light's hitting. It's more complicated in... I'll make it sound. Ambient occlusion is like the opposite. Things that aren't getting hit by the light grow darker. But this ambient occlusion takes your entire screen space into account on what grows dark and what grows light. So if you're in a dark area, where everything is dark, then the dark parts will not seem invisible to you. They won't be pure black. But if you're in a contrasting area where you got light and dark, the dark bits grow really dark. And so that you can't see them unless you're looking right at them and trying to focus on them or something. Light shafts gives physical appearance to light because the light has volume. Distortion is like screen effects used in a wide amount of ways. I think this game uses distortion on the corners of your screen a lot to show like action. It can also be used when there's explosions going off and your screen gets really shaky. It'll add distortion that way. Different games use it differently. Character shadows is probably meaning dynamic shadows following your characters. Good shadows are very hard to render right. You're gonna need good PCs for that. Water reflections, and this means dynamic, pretty sure. It means that the mountains, the terrain, is going to show up dynamically in the water. You'll see the reflections on it. You'll see the trees, you'll see the characters, you'll see the effects, lights. All of it should be included in this game. I'm not expecting anything less. Light maps, quality. Since this game is probably using a lot of dynamic lighting. This affects how the objects hold the light, what angles it shows off, and how it reflects and refracts. Materials quality, probably the same thing as texture quality. I don't really know what it means, it's kind of vague. Detailed distance is going to be how far we see objects at their full quality. Objects in the distance, the trees, they become more flat looking, but they don't need to look any fuller because they're in a distance and they're smaller. They don't need their full quality to be in for show, because since they take up so much space, they don't need that full 1 gig texture quality. They can run under 256 megabyte quality. Ones up front though, I'm hoping they're running at least 512. I don't have the eye for it to tell what the texture quality of things are. It varies from game to game how much you're going to see, and that's important, but I don't want to get into that. If you want to know about texture quality and know what it means, you can send me a PM. Well, that's enough about that. So I'm planning to record this game was Shadow Play. I want to start the game now and explain it in a bit, but it's going to be the full 1080 record, 60 FPS at bitrate of about 20 megabits per second. That's not the best for video, but I want to render it even less. And then YouTube is limited to 8 megabits per second. So I'm going down from 20 to 8.
Ethan Carter I didn't know, but he knew who I was. When the police won't help you and the priests don't believe you, you call on Paul Prospero. You call on me. If you're a kid like Ethan, you're right, plenty do. Ethan's letter started out just like any other fan mail, but soon there were mentions of things no little boy should know about. There are places that exist that very few people can see. Ethan could have drawn a map. I hadn't entered Red Creek Valley yet, but already I could feel its darkness reaching out for me. Finding Ethan Carter wasn't going to be as easy as knocking on his door. I was too late for that. To find Ethan, I had to figure out what this place was trying to hide from me.
A few things about this game is, well, first it looks great. The second, there's not much to it. There's no enemy, no jump scares really. It's just a narrative that you explore, I think. When you're trying to find this guy, Ethan Carter. Now, I've got about 2 feet in front of me, and this got me the first time. It's down. Why is this here? I still don't get it. I can hold down that and click on it, and it sees into another place. But it doesn't seem to do anything. I can't interact with it any other way. Just right click the zoom. As far as I got. To show you real quick, this is what we all just studied for the past, I don't know, 8 minutes. Look at the texture quality.